Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the weekly Steelchair. It is me, your host, in a very insignificant accent. I'm only kidding. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekly Steelchair. Hope you're all doing well. As you can see, I'm back and in living colour, here to have some fun. And we're certainly going to see how things go tonight. So, welcome to Glenn, Zodiac, Maria, and Fernando. How are you all? Niall, what's cooking? Ladies and gentlemen, do have Pepsi Max, but for the time being, I'm drinking Iron Brew. Don't think our main sponsor is against us. We still have the mighty Pepsi sponsorship. Someone understands the film plotline. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the only Friday the 13th of 2025, and it's also the birthday of Jason Voorhees. So let's not wish him happy birthday, because you don't do that to film characters, but this is your only Friday the 13th. How is everybody though? Like, genuinely, how are you all? Last night we hit, I'm not even kidding, our current viewership for last night's show is well over 200 views, and all we did last night was say fuck StreamYard, and we obviously helped Aaron get 8 new subscribers. How many views did last night's show get? Let's have a look. We're on 231 as we speak. That's not bad. That's actually not so bad. It's a fun week. I like that we can keep going. I honestly I don't know. I don't know. There was something up with it last night. I had to go and upgrade on my restream just to use some stuff last night, but it came up for me saying unhealthy stream, which I'm assuming might mean that their servers were dead. But it's still really shit, because like I'd prepared in advance for the stream and I had to go and do a new one in between, which is really crap. So hopefully we don't have that issue tonight. Good to hear. Good to hear. Thanks, Zodiac. We do have some crazy news as well, ladies and gentlemen, but I suppose we go with the beginning. So let's see what we've got. Let's see if we can find any news. Obviously, I'll give you the SmackDown lineups as well if anyone wants them. But we have a lot. And if Catherine shows up, she's getting shouted at. And I'm not kidding. If Catherine shows up, she's getting shouted at. I'm also going to be on one of our other subscriber, Nick Teodoro's channel tonight. He has a guest on. You guys might remember at one point in time we were supposed to have Mike Chioda on the channel. Somehow, no idea what happened. I'm not sure if it was the real one or just some random imposter. But Mike Chioda is on Nick's channel tonight and he has asked me to come on. So I am going to get a chance at least to ask a question. And then hopefully bring him on the channel at some point so we can actually fucking interview him. As a matter of fact, when it comes to the ladies and the Croc hits rock bottom, he has no choice but to lay the smack down on himself. Damn right, Zodiac. let's have a look and see what we've got. Speaking of which, there is updates on American Gladiators. Let's see. So huge news. So Omos has signed a new multi-year deal with WWE. Give me your reactions to that, folks. Jade Cargill is set to make her acting debut. Okay, alongside Jonathan Majors in True Threat, whatever the fuck that means. Catherine, funnily enough, I say your name and you actually appear. You're gonna get shouted at. What the fuck are you doing? Tagging me in that? The internal hope within WWE is that Bianca Belair will return to action by SummerSlam. That's from PW Insider. Omos has signed a new contract, it's already confirmed. Busted Flaps obviously had Ron Killings on there and he went psycho. From WrestleVotes, WWE has significant interest in having Mr. Iguana be a part of their programming. So remember what I said last night when I got asked about how long I give the hype? I said 3 weeks. Looks like it's coming. I absolutely despise them. Nikki Bella has confirmed via People's Magazine that she's back in extended in-ring run. Ugh. It sums up my point that we're getting two title matches out of her. Brie Bella's also coming back. See, it all happens. Blake Monroe says she's asked WWE to sell her Bathwater. So basically, she is meant to be based on Sydney Sweeney. Too bad she doesn't have the sex appeal or the talent. What else have we got? Officially, if you haven't seen it, I know, but sadly, there are idiot fans who were. I'm sorry, I know I said it to you, Catherine, in the chat, that there was some fat git that was crying their eyes out, but now we're going to get more. This is Ron Killing's new official look. Let me know what you think. What do we think of this new look, folks? Is it just me, or does this make him look like he's just came out of prison? I don't mean to sound that in a harsh way, but doesn't that not feel like he's just came out of prison? Like, that doesn't look right to me. Yeah. I'm interested to see what they do with him. But I just don't like this look. But I want to see how real he gets. And fair play to him for shutting down that fucking belly flop, Bubba Ray Dudley. Fair play to him. See, look at that. We need you here because your shirt is top seller. This is for Mr. Iguana. This is not good. This, like I already said, I give it 3 weeks. Look at this. I told you guys I give it 3 weeks. Exhibit. I don't listen to rap, but I know who that is. Top seller. Who's the current top seller in WWE, guys? Don't worry, it's not a trick question. Who's the top seller right now in WWE? He looks odd, Fernando. That's the only thing for me, but we'll see how it goes. But currently, right now, who's the top seller in WWE? Interesting guess. You're all wrong so far. If Cody Rhodes saved pro wrestling, then what did he save it from? So far, Catherine Zodiac, you're wrong on your guesses. That sadly is correct. Catherine Goldberg will be when he returns. It's not Punk and it's not Alexa Bliss. Ron is the second top merch seller right now. It's not Cena. It's not Ripley. It is a man. Not the man. It's a man. Ron Killings is the second highest merch seller right now. Well, top merch seller right now. Trust me, guys, you know who the top merch seller is because we've been criticising the whole thing for a long time. It's not Chad Gable. I'll give you a little clue. 10 seconds of TV time. There you go. Karrion Kross is the top merch seller in WWE. And they want Mr. Iguana to be the top merch seller. Where's Karrion Kross right now? One word. 8 letters. Where's Karrion Kross right now? No, that's 15. I mean, to be fair, I'm so not watching that stupid Tuesday Night Titans crap. Not Vacation. That's a good one though. That's you're pretty much where I'm thinking though. There you go. He's in catering. He's in catering. Just like Blake Monroe's bathwater is going to be. I'm still not sure about this bizarre gimmick for her. But having to endure, suffer, watch, listen, the crap that comes from the Bella twins, I'm supposed we can survive Blake Monroe. Vince filed a motion to compel arbitration today in the civil case against Janelle Grant. Ooh. Interesting. Does Vince realize what happens if it goes to arbitration though? Like, does he realize what happens? If he doesn't, then he's a moron. Hang on. How can they... I was looking at the source that said Omos has signed a new multi-year deal. It's a gaming company outside of Las Vegas. How would they know this? Exactly. Spot on, Zodiac. Have you guys seen who's listed for American Gladiators? That's not a trick. That's not a trick question. I'm being serious. Have you seen who's listed for American Gladiators? What? Her first throw? Please tell me you're joking. Camille Warlow and WWE is crying about them being on the show. Here's the funny thing. I actually think... Oh no, I've seen what she looks like. She looks terrifying. That's mental. I actually think, in the weird way, WWE will use American Gladiators to their advantage. And I think they'll be annoyingly successful. This is not a hate campaign, I'm just being serious. They'll use it to their advantage and they will be successful. I can see that 100 steps ahead. Because they're not the only two that are on that show. There's another person on there that will return soon. Yeah, I heard. Not good for him, like, he's going to be out for a while. Alright, Catherine's actually tagged me in the video. She looks like an absolute crazy unit. But every time I look at her, I'm like, oh, Brock Lesnar's ready to kill us all. That's some power. All I'm gonna say is, Bleacher Report, they really do attract the weirdos on social media, don't they? And I like Bleacher Report, but Jesus Christ, some of the comments on this is absolutely disgusting. Like, I actually feel cringe. Oh, that was expected. When he loses the final, that'll say it all. I'm going to be covering the G1, but he ain't winning it. I think this is 100% Gabe Kidd's year. Triple H had Jey lose to Gunther because he wanted the Gunther Goldberg be a title match. Well, to be fair, Jey Uso's actually injured. Jey Uso's about to take time off. He's not winning the G1, pal. As much as I would like that, he ain't winning it. So hardly any money then. They're doing this a lot right now, aren't they? Like these big match... like these big match money matches. 4 million pesos isn't enough, isn't it? Aye, $211,000. Let's fucking make some. Let's make it more interesting. Tony Khan, if you've got some balls, make it $500,000. Make it 9.4 million pesos. Yeah, he'll be there for a long time now. I mean, look, like, he's young as well. I don't think Goto's winning the G1. But I think he'll lose to his challenger. Whoever beats Goto wins the G1. Goto is still, for me right now, the best active world champion in wrestling. He's already rinsed Okada's defense record. Like, he is on an absolute roll right now. It wouldn't surprise me if Goto holds the world championship all the way up until Wrestle Kingdom 20. I'm eager to see who he gets, though. I think it's either Gabe Kidd or David Finlay Jr. Yota Tsuji, though, I think his match at the weekend is going to tell the fate as well, though. Because that's something I'm looking forward to. Remember, this weekend is your Dominion preview and review shows, so stay tuned for that. There's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be bringing back onto the channel. New Japan's one of them. Pro Wrestling Noah. Go do some Mexican shows. As best I can, I'm going to look into some Mexican stuff. But finding it is the thing. I'll certainly do my best. And also, I'm going to try and bring more of the UK indie scene back onto the channel, because I've not done much since last year, which is really terrible of me. I admit that. I need to do better. I must do better. So we'll certainly do that one way or another. Interesting. What part of it last night let you down? I called the winner of the 8-for-1 match. Like, I saw that coming straight away. Yep. Roman Reigns and The Rock are the highest two. The Rock's the highest earner, Roman Reigns is the second. And watch their contracts come down. It's either come down or leave. Yep. TKO and WWE can't afford to have them on their full wages, especially for not even being full-time talent. Roman Reigns, I guarantee you, will be told either you come down at 2.5 to 3 million, or we can't keep you. Or, if you want your $5 million contract, you stay full time. I think that's fair, Maria. I think realistically, when I look at it last night, overall there were some matches that I was really disappointed, so we'll certainly take that. Take Roman's dick out your mouth. Sure about that? No one is safe right now. I'm not kidding. The funny thing is the person who's got to make that decision is the person who will get defended like within an inch of his life. I guarantee you, if it comes pushed down to shove, keeping Roman or releasing like 10 talents, they'll release 10 talents instead. Just to keep him. Which is a bad idea. He can take all the time off he wants. Quite frankly, Roman Reigns needs to go and do the right thing. And I actually think he should. He should go to Hollywood. I actually think he should go into acting. Because when you look at it in the nicest way possible, what exactly can he bring in 2025 and beyond? Especially to a WWE right now that's absolutely in the gutter. Sorry to those that don't like the truth, but there you go. I would at least celebrate that one though, Maria. But it wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. Nothing that WWE does in 2025 and beyond surprises me. See a lot of those legend contracts, just watch some of them go off your pop. More budget cuts will happen. The funny thing is see very shortly, AEW are about to do the same thing. Roman is no actor. I mean, he has been in one film. I think he's been in one or two films. I don't particularly think much of him. But what I honestly think is you're going to see a change. I think they're going to be really strict on how much they can offer a contract when they shouldn't be. They should be able to offer big fuck off money at the talent they want, the top talents they want. Wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me either, Catherine. Like, if they could make the... I think, sadly, the next lot of cuts, Karrion Kross is one of them. I think he's one of them. I am expecting The Miz to be gone this year. I think there are going to be a lot of NXT kickabouts. I think women especially, there might be a one or two in there that you'll be like, this is a bad idea. But if they have to find ways to cut their debt, they'll do it. WWE are already up the shitter creatively, but TKO are financially in the death sentence. And here's another thing as well. All those shares that Nick Khan is selling makes you wonder where he's going to be very soon. Or is that too big a truth bomb? Well, that's something I didn't want to see today. What's your favourite Jason Voorhees movie? Easy. It's always the original Friday the 13th for me. I'm going to be very honest. I love the Jason Voorhees character, but I actually prefer the original because I think his mum was the best killer. Mrs. Voorhees for me was absolute top tier killer. Unreal killer. I like it up until as far as Friday the 13th Part 3. Most of the shit after that just don't work well with me, and I'm a horror movie fan. But some of the shit after that, I'm like, ugh. But you put the original right in front of me, I could watch that 4 or 5 times in a row, and I'd be alright. I love that stuff. We'll see, Billy. That all depends on certain things. He won't be able to buy it back if his court case goes to shit. Yeah. Mrs. Voorhees was ruthless as fuck. Jason was twisted and evil, but Mrs. Voorhees was driven to it. Jason came back as the personification of evil. Mrs. Voorhees became the personification of evil. That woman did not give a fuck. And I love that. I just like the way that she crumbles. Yo, Bill, happy Friday 13th, my man. How are you? Just imagine that you're, I don't know, in a cabin with your partner, and then all of a sudden this psycho bitch appears. Because that's one of the wildest and scariest movie scenes of all time. It's up there with the shower scene in Psycho. Or the very ending of Psycho. I love that film as well. I watch that every fucking Thursday night. I'm not even kidding. I watch it every Thursday night before I watch TNA and Ring of Honor. That's my Thursday night film every week. I prefer Mrs. Voorhees, mate, but absolutely get the machete in the hockey mask. How soon should the Inspiration win the women's tag titles? Slammiversary. Put the belt straight on them at Slammiversary. The funny thing is, I used to have issues with them. I didn't used to realistically like them, but I'm giving them a second chance. I didn't like them when they first came to TNA, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I didn't care for them in WWE. I'm actually willing to give them a chance. I've got a very specific way to describe him, Abu, and it goes like this. He's a fool. Omos is officially signed his own death warrant. Because they're not going to use him. The funny thing is, and you can go back and look, I slated Omos on this channel for years. I did. You can go back and look at every single video since he debuted. I absolutely slaughtered that man. But then he went on excursion. Then he went to Pro Wrestling Noah. And honestly, I got to see a different side of him that I really like. That man finally used his size, his power, and his look, and became a tag team champion that actually felt good. When he was winning the tag titles with AJ, it didn't feel fun. For AJ, it's good. AJ holding gold is perfect. But for Omos, he looked out of place. And his match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania sums it up. It was a woeful match to watch. He got over really well. And then the minute he got over with Team 2000X, yes, it is the game. I'm here to pull you from Noah. 'Cause you're over. And we do not want you like that. And I am boring. And my nose is up your arse. And you're going to get wasted. Sure, boss. Spaceballs 2 will be a laugh. Telling you now, Omos has just signed a multi-year deal to do fuck all. If he had any pride in himself, he would have left. As a talent, if he had any pride, he would have left. And he should have went back to Noah. He should go to Noah full time. He's actually over there in Japan. Like, not as in like he's over there currently in the country. He's over there in terms of being over as a gimmick. Source, not happening, bro. He can't afford it. And also, it's not true. But hello, Dave. If you'd said Omos sucked 5 years ago, I would say 100%. I would. You say it now, I disagree. His potential is there. He was living up to it in Pro Wrestling Noah. Him and Jack Morris are a brilliant team. And WWE's jealousy kicked in. Because they're legit morons. But yeah, if you'd said that to me 5 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, 100%. No debate, no ifs, no buts. I'd be like, yeah. Even 2-3 years ago, I'd be like, actually, yeah. He has impressed me in WWE. Like I said, I wasn't sure of him in WWE. I was more confident of him when he left and went on excursion. When he went to Noah, I was like, there's something in there with him. Noah let him be a giant that actually felt revered instead of a giant who just gets mugged. I'm going to say this is true. Nah, he at least has star power. Great Khali's got absolutely fuck all. I actually think Omos is the giant that this generation really needs. This generation hasn't had. If they just let him move, they let him work. Let him use his size. Let him use his power. And you can see what I see in him. There's something there about him, trust me. Omos is one of very, very, very rare few wrestlers who's ever made me change my mind on them. It's a very small amount. Because you know me, when I make my mind up, that's it. Omos changed my mind. Which is very difficult to do. But before we get into these reviews, obviously I've got your TNA opinions, but if you did watch Ring of Honor last night, guys, what's your opinions on Ring of Honor as well? I'm going to give... Currently, we've been doing a little scorecard. I'm going to have to start keeping a full set. But I've gave 1 win to Ring of Honor. I gave a draw last week. I'm going to give the point this time to... Yes. I'm going to give the point this week. I'm going to give the point to Ring of Honor. So it's two overall win weeks for Ring of Honor. A tie last week. And no points yet for better show of the week from TNA. Will TNA do it next week? We'll find out. But at the moment, it's 2-1-0. Will TNA sign Alberto Del Rio? I fucking hope not. Is Matt Riddle ever coming back to the big leagues? I don't know. For all we know, he might end up on Pornhub. The way that man moves right now with his fiance, his wife, it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up on there. I think Riddle is doomed for where he's at. I think he's doomed to remain there, and quite frankly, he should. What's up, Nick? I'm not too bad, mate. How are you? But yeah, I'm giving the overall point score to Ring of Honor, which means as Ring of Honor won this week, they will go first on the review. So let's proceed. Let's look at what we've got on the show. We have a world title proving grounds match. We have Ring of Honor Women's TV title. We also have an 8-man tag match And we have a tag match to open the show as well. MLW, I wouldn't really consider them the big leagues. Especially because they've already aligned themselves with Eric Bischoff, they've ruined their status. I wouldn't consider them the big leagues. But they're still a decent organisation. TNA was a pretty good show. Debatable. Leon versus Hotch was good. I watched them on like Watch Wrestling. I watched them off the Watch Wrestling website just because networks are so different and few and far between. But that's where I watched them. They're not even on the network over here. Which is interesting. But yeah, overall, they don't have a TV deal here, but I don't know where they have a TV deal in general. I physically don't know. I don't watch, so I just watch them like online. It's easier for me. If I can't find something particular, I'll just go online. It's the same with the Mexican stuff. Like, I just do it that way as well because there's only as much you can do. Which is really crap. Oh yeah, TKO are definitely releasing more talent. Well, they'll say you have to remove X amount of money, and then WWE will be like, alright, here you go, these are the folk that are getting binned. And then TKO will get all the blame. Trust me. They will. Okay, so, like I said, I'm giving the point to Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor was the better show. Overall, for me, the better written show was Ring of Honor. TNA could have had something, but it chose not to. TNA chose to fanny about again. And it's nice to see that I'm not the only TNA fan out there that doesn't think one thing. I want to prove a point. I'm not the only TNA fan that hates something that is not going to do any favours. It's nice to see someone else has my understanding and my sense. Marky D. Shout out to Mark. He's a quality content creator. Covers TNA as well. It's funny how he's called this shit out. Continuously calls this out. You want evidence? Look, I'll keep going. That was fucking horrible. I'm not even going to go into that. This was disgusting. So many things went wrong. It's your own fault. Yes. Yep. Awful. See all that? So important. But that one matters. You didn't like the video because it speaks the truth. Just like I do. Funny that, eh? No. Here's a fun fact. So do I. Except I've always liked her. I don't like who she is as a person, but as a wrestler, I'm a big fan of Tessa Blanchard as a wrestler. Fiery indeed. Tessa really knows how to fucking get people under their skin. She's really good. As a human being, she's a bloody pain in the neck. She is. But her character, her wrestling, her gimmick, she's up there with some of the best in the world. She is. That's not even a... It's not. If you really take wrestling seriously, you have to admit the truth. She is still up there with the best in the world, and she would run WWE instantly, like that. She would run AEW, like that. And that's not me putting down anybody in WWE or AEW. I'm not putting them down. I'm not. But I look at it from a factual perspective. Exactly. You got to separate. But the truth is simple. Who she's a wrestler. You stick her in the AEW main event scene, she holds the title for over a year. You put her in WWE, she's champion for like 2 years. I think you're misunderstanding the whole point, guy, when you're saying I think TNA in 2020-21 was worse. He's saying the partnership is affecting TNA's quality and affecting the work of the company itself. Newsflash, he's telling the truth. Yous are being brainwashed. You know who's not brainwashed? This guy. When I get my respect eventually and my praise for calling out before everybody else in the way that it wasn't going to work, and I said it wasn't going to work, I just wasn't a fan of it. I didn't want the partnership to begin with because I knew they were going to betray it. And Catherine will agree with me. There was times where I didn't think they were going to buy TNA. I never said anything wrong about that. But I never wanted the partnership with WWE to begin with TNA. For TNA. But I've consistently called out the shit stupidity that it brings. And the hive mentality. Their fans are slowly and steadily creeping their way into TNA crowds, and they're killing it. And the worst thing is people are fucking celebrating NXT talent on a TNA show. That's like getting fucking set on fire. It's not good enough. Where have I seen that before? Where have I seen that before? Hold on. To be fair, I was just looking up the fact that I actually predicted the outcome, that was all. I was just re-looking at it, that was all. Yep, exactly. I did like the interview. I'm still alive. I'm not broken. Far from it. Okay. Yous have had your fun. And I'll let you have that once. Once. But I ain't gonna let you get a second time. Let's begin with Ring of Honor. As we said, was the winner of this week's show. Well, this week's war, I should say, of what was better. Ring of Honor begins with a very high-flying, fast-paced tag match between Magnus and Volador Jr. versus Atlantis Jr. and Templario. Again, fast-paced. I like this. Is actually a very interesting match because if you watch MLW, then you actually do get one half of this. You do get Templario, who is a multi-time champion. Same with Magnus. They are double champs, successful double champs actually. There's elements to this. I think you're going to see that. I actually think you're going to have many of these promotional crossovers that actually do work. You know what AEW didn't do particularly well the other night, which we commented on? The way they treated luchadors didn't feel right. The way WWE treated Lucha Libre and Worlds Collide didn't feel right. How did it take until Thursday for Ring of Honor to be the one company that actually treats Lucha Libre with respect? No fanning about, no trying to unmask them, no disparaging the culture. We got to see luchas wrestle in front of crowds that love to see it. This was excellent. This opening tag match is fundamentally wonderful to watch. It's a good thing he's not going to buy them. Tegan Knox should go to TNA, she'll crush it. I think Tegan Knox should just do the indies. She should go back to the UK and work the UK indie scene. That's what I think she should do. I like the tag match offense in this. I thought the hot tags were perfectly timed. I think we got, all in all, a fully established pacing of a tag match that I would run it back multiple times. I would. I actually like the match, and I like the result that we got. Atlantis and Templario was the right result. Atlantis Jr. is living up to what his dad was successful with, and you can see it's a natural feel. I want more of that. I want more of these two together. I want more fun inside and outside. I don't want any mocking of the culture. I just want it to be good wrestling. The backbreakers in this match were incredible. It felt like I was watching an old-fashioned lucha libre match with a modern pacing. It felt really exciting. And the match ends with a frog splash that doesn't include a taunt. Really solid opening contest. I liked it. Really solid. Fast. It doesn't have to take long. You don't have to over exaggerate your audience. You don't have to over exaggerate your working style. You just need to keep the fans on side. And they do. And they actually got the crowd going really well, and I was really impressed by what we got from Volador Jr., from Templario, from Atlantis and Magnus. It was really good. What? I've not watched SpongeBob in years because, you know, standards. Because you're well liked, my friend. I know. Just put your phone on silent and flip your phone. It's an easy method. Okay, up next. Up next, we have everyone's favourite Ring of Honor gimmick, the Frat House member Preston Vance in action against Evil Uno. I cannot for the life of me stop with this. Evil Uno obviously is accompanied by Alex Reynolds. Preston Vance is accompanied by Cole Garter, Griff Garrison, and Jacked Jameson. I mean, if he's jacked, then I don't know what is. This is a horrible, horrible situation. The Frat House are getting so much time now that their gimmick is becoming insufferable. Even more insufferable than what they already are. They are the Jey Usos of Ring of Honor. The gimmick isn't fun. The gimmick isn't exciting. We've already pitched better ideas. Tony Khan, if you've got ears, use them for what I'm about to say. Rename them to the Fraternity, give them better gear, and stop treating them like donkeys. 3 steps. 1 decision. That is very fucking true, Maria. What is the worst segment this week? First Class and Trick Williams. 1,000,000,000%. I'm just going to say in the nicest way possible, this match was horse shit. Preston Vance gets the win. It's not fun. And then for some stupid reason, John Silver returns. So the Dark Order are just going to have another wank session and get back to each other. I can't take this crap seriously. I seriously can't. The fact that we've got the 3 goofs back, even worse. The Frat House are not as are bad, but Dark Order are worse. They're still a thing. Why can't we get rid of them? It's an absolute joke that we have to get these morons back on TV. No one wants to see John Silver. No one cares about Alex Reynolds. And no one for damn sure cares about Evil Uno. Reverse Uno and fuck off. I genuinely can't take that shit seriously. I'm sorry, I can't. He's already been world champion and didn't deliver. So there goes your theory. I would gladly delete Uno. Up next is actually a phenomenal women's match. Red Velvet versus Harleen Lopez in a Ring of Honor Women's TV title Proving Ground match. This is one of 2 Proving Ground matches on the show. This is the better one. This match all in your face, exciting, heavy hitting from the champion. Big Bill and Powerhouse Hobbs and Lance Archer would like a word with you. Or are you forgetting that Big Brian Cage has actually been used quite well since before he got injured? And also, Bobby Lashley's a big man. Is he getting jobbed out? No. Red Velvet currently is the longest reigning single women's champion from a North American promotion at the moment. She is fast approaching 1 year as the Ring of Honor Women's TV title. I believe she's held this title longer than Mercedes Moné with the TBS title. I've already explained this to you. I'm not going to repeat the fact I educated you on this. I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to do that again because you'll just miss the point. Red Velvet, right? Well, I know obviously Athena's the longest reigning world champion, but I mean in terms of like a TV title mid-card scene, Red Velvet is the longest reigning champion. And she is really cooking right now. Like, she is excellent. I don't know what her ceiling is. That's something I have to really ask the question. Oh, of course I will, and I'm not going to. Right now, the longest reigning world champion for a woman is Athena. The longest reigning TV champion or TV based mid card champion is Red Velvet, and it's so entertaining. Ken. No, I'm not going to repeat myself. I'm not going to repeat myself because then you'll have to ask the stupid question yourself. I absolutely really enjoyed this contest back and forth. It was fun. Yes, it's a squash, but it's an exciting one. Red Velvet right now, her use of strikes are very terrifying. She really does make a strike look scary, and it's something I actually admire. The way she dishes out punishment is really good. I'm eager to see who actually will beat her for the title. But I'm not entirely sure where they're getting to. TNA are next, mate. This is currently Ring of Honor. I'm just a bit concerned about the overall decision. Red Velvet's overrated? Is she? We get a backstage segment from the Dark Order. God almighty. And what did they talk about that's absolutely embarrassing? That's fair, Maria. That's fair. The Dark Order need to be fired for saying the fact they were talking about meat. They need to be fired. I'm getting sick of people allowing this. This is insulting. Yep, they're on Ring of Honor now. Talking about meat. The absolute pilgrims. I'm going to ask a very honest question. I want you to give me a yes or no answer. Are you deaf? You behave. I'm criticising the Dark Order's promo. So how come I enjoy Ring of Honor more than TNA this week, despite the Dark Order? Despite the Dark Order, which is an abomination, I don't care for that. The rest of the show I actually thought was good. Oh, Abil, that is disgusting. That is disgusting. I'm getting. Absolutely disgusting. Shane Taylor Promotions are getting ready for their 8-man tag. I don't drink alcohol. For a group that claims to be the most dominant faction in Ring of Honor, you'd think you'd have more than just the Ring of Honor Pure title to hand. Funny that, eh? But yes, this is seriously a very good match indeed. Shane Taylor Promotions, all 4 members. Yep, Bandito is still the champion. So Shane Taylor, Ring of Honor Pure Champion Lee Moriarty, and the Infantry versus Vaughn Vertigo, Martian Webb, Riley Reinhardt, and Joe DeMaro. Simply put, those 4 lads get their asses handed to them. That fucking chop, that front palm chop from Shane Taylor on one of the lads, like, there's barely any like muscle on the guy, and it looks like he would have put his hand through his ribcage and snapped it. That's how, well, cracked it or whatever. That's how bad those chops were. You could see the impact on the body. This was a straight down assassination attempt. She's an ugly munter. No. This was a beat down, but the problem is there's also a weakness to this match. Shane Taylor. Now, Lee Moriarty, he gets the win with the Border City stretch. Lee Moriarty is a phenomenal wrestler. He's probably the best wrestler in Ring of Honor that's not Bandito. But Shane Taylor is up there with Mansoor for the worst wrestler in Ring of Honor. And I actually think that's becoming a major problem. And the reason why it's becoming a problem is he's not physically able to get back into a winning rhythm against credible opponents. The guys here were all jobbers. Or enhancement talents if you want to pay respect a little bit more. They're all enhancement talents. They don't do anything for him. Shane Taylor needs serious competition pronto. Otherwise, he is going to become a meme. In the nice way possible, he is going to become Samoa Joe when he joined MVP, Bobby Lashley, Kenny King, and Low Key many years ago before TNA went, actually, you know what, you can go. When he joined them, he became an absolute chicken shit meme. Yep, he still exists. He was in the main event of this show, Abu. Shane Taylor and the Big Slow are the reason I don't like them kind of villains. I like big guys that can move. Effectively, you want big guys that can actually do the work but also be entertaining. Low Key was incredible. This show sounds boring. Did anything interesting happen story-wise? Well, the stories were the Proving Ground elimination matches, but also the stories within Shane Taylor promotion, who's going to be the effective leader, is actually a story itself. Because that faction soon is going to implode. But here's the thing. You say this show was boring. Wait till we get to TNA. And I'll show you boring. And when do I ever say that about TNA? Think about that. Accompanied by Johnny TV or John Morrison or Johnny Impact or fucking whatever you want to fucking call him. Mason Manuel, he sucks. And Taya Valkyrie, they accompany Mansoor to the ring for a Proving Ground match for the world champion against Bandito. Long story short, Bandito fucked him up. 21 Plex fucked him up. Game over. But what was better was the post-match angle. Blake Christensen attacked him, which was a very big shock. But even so, following that, Máscara Dorada comes out and challenges him for a Ring of Honor World Title match. We have two big matches here. I'm eager to see what happens. Now, on CMLL, which is on Tuesday, there's a chance we might get Máscara Dorada versus Bandito for the Ring of Honor World Title. If we do, make it happen. That will cook. As for Blake Christian, he's a little bit boring, a bit dull, lacks a little, but he makes up for it in the ring. If he can find something that makes him stand out, he'll be fine. His ceiling is the top of Ring of Honor. It is not AEW. But for what we got on the show, really well done. I did like it. So lot to bring in, so lot to do, but end of the day, that's where we go. That's where we go from here. So that was Ring of Honor. Now it's time for TNA. Ladies and gentlemen, strap on your hats, because this is where it gets interesting. Now, in terms of the show format, on paper, TNA does have the better show. But that's on paper. What's delivered, the better show, is Ring of Honor. But it's not an outright smash. Yep. 100% Darius. For a 10-minute match, it's actually okay. For a 10-minute TV main event, it's actually an okay match to watch. I liked it. Right, let's see. So, Impact begins with the usual recap nonsense from Against All Odds, blah blah blah. We get all the return videos, and then the absolute stupidity of Trick Williams beating Elijah. There's a video on screen for Santana making his way to the building, but he gets stopped entry. Santana got suspended, a TV on-screen suspension. He's been suspended for 2 weeks. Reason being is for his behaviour against all odds, which I find completely acceptable. He was suspended for attacking third class. A million times more interesting. That's over-exaggeration. That's an over-exaggeration. Santana's been suspended. He'll get a match in 2 weeks. Robert Stone, again, why this guy keeps coming back to TNA, I don't know. I'm getting sick of this shit. He gets kicked out of the building. Santino kicks off Impact himself in the ring. He gives us a rundown, confirms that the worst champion in wrestling that's not a world champion, Moose, will defend the X Division title against the person I said was going to win the title from him, Leon Slater. He will wrestle him at Slammiversary. He also says that there's going to be a 10-man tag match, which builds up over the next couple of weeks. He gets some words in about Trick Williams and says there's going to be matches and build up. I'm going to tell you now, Slammiversary, it's going to be Joe Hendry, Trick Williams, Kazarian, Mike Santana for the world title. Guess who's winning? They got better when they kicked Conan. It had intrigue, but yeah, it had Robert Stone. It had a pointless Santino Marella segment. It had idiotic fans. And overplayed a lot. The only good things about this was Jason Hotch, Masha, and Kelly. That's it. Yeah, Mike Santana. He was quality. He still is. He was quality in LAX, but he's better now. Opening contest is the returning Inspiration in tag match versus Brittany Brooks and Missa Kate. Just two enhancement talents, obviously, nothing really special. The Inspiration would win the match with the Idolizer, their tag team finish, which is alright, I suppose. It isn't a great move. Yo, what's up, Aaron? No. We get a backstage hype segment from the Hardys, just talking about the main event. Matt says they're going to go through third class, because they are third class, because they want to get the TNA World titles back at World Tag Team titles back at Slammiversary. That's probably going to be a triple threat or a fatal four way for the tag titles. This was a decent match. The theme song, obviously, for the Inspiration is still Harley Cameron. So I'm glad that we've got that still. We're going to get the Inspiration versus the Elegance Clam Squad at Slammiversary. That's depressing. Up next is the worst segment in pro wrestling. The third class penthouse. I'm going to keep calling them third class because that's what they are. Segment with that absolute gimp Trick Williams. This segment was horrible. 0 out of 10 segment. I'm absolutely embarrassed to watch this. Embarrassing. Not even going to praise it. This thing needs to be shut down. I agree. They are the nosebleed seats of pro wrestling. When it comes to a faction, they're horrible. Yeah, well, the segment was awful for me. Up next is an actual better segment, because a great faction and then another shit faction, which is the System, are trying to determine the final location for Jason Hotch. I really like that. I like they try to play games with him. But that doesn't stop the proper faction, Mustafa Ali and the Order 4 showing up. Yes. He seriously was, yeah. No surprise he's trying to do that when he's helping his son get sentenced to 45 years in prison. I like this. Mustafa Ali he's taught Jason Hotch a lesson. Now it's trying to get the faction back on track, which I rate a lot. The System then confront Matt Cardona, the talking chipmunk. Honest to God. Right. Oh, that's one way. That's one way to work. I'm saying this now. Every time Alicia Edwards talks, I seriously want someone to throat punch her. Every time she talks, I just want someone to punch her in the throat. Because she sounds like a talking chipmunk or a talking squirrel. And I seriously can't take her seriously. Next week we've got a tag match, obviously the System versus Matt Cardona and a tag partner of his choice. And we see a stare down between Cardona and lack of flying Brian Myers. Accompanied by John Skyler to the ring, Jason Hotch versus Leon Slater. What a match. This match was really good. I really like this opening match. Before we get to, obviously, she basically does. She does. Leon Slater would win the match, of course, with his patented Swanton 450. Again, it's the best diving finish in wrestling right now. It's second to none. I really enjoy the delivery. I like the flow. Can you not, for once, just... This is starting to become a serious problem. This is starting to become a serious problem now. I'm not the only one noticing this now. This needs to stop. Like, I'm seriously not kidding. This shit needs to stop. He did. At the end of the show. He is incredible. You're sinking into a deeper hole. I advise stopping. You further epitomize a problem, and it needs to stop. See, when I'm criticizing someone, or see when I'm discussing someone, see, instead of going, oh, but someone else, stick to the person. What is Alicia Edwards sounding like a talking squirrel got to do with Mercedes Moné? This is becoming seriously disingenuous now. And it is. All of a sudden, you just cannot seem to not go one show, no matter what it is, without getting a dab in it. Or like, seriously, what is it with you and Mercedes Moné? Like, I don't get it. Like, seriously. I'm talking purely TNA and Ring of Honor. She's not on any of those shows. Does she talk a lot? Yes. She's a far better promo than her, though. But here's the thing. When Alicia talks, it sounds ridiculous. No, she doesn't do anything good, and she has no heat. How do you honestly think Alicia Edwards has heat? That is seriously insane. I'm sorry, but she has no heat. He is crazy though. He is crazy though, Darius. Following the match, backstage, we do get Tessa Blanchard backstage interview segment ahead of the 841 number one contenders match. Again, Tessa Blanchard, this is what heat looks like. I like the fact that she says that the division needs a reminder of who built it, even though she didn't, because it was already established before she got there. This is good stuff from Tessa. What? I'm not on mute. When did I go on mute? Mercedes just has to say one word and you feel cringe. I think there's a reason for that. Aye, she is ruthless with that. Like when it comes to tearing people down, she's ruthless. All the women in this match, like 4 or 5 of them, is what I would absolutely build a division around and start re-establishing a division. But yeah, I freaking love this match between Jason Hotch and Leon Slater, and I actually think you're gonna get. I think the record is going to be broken. I think Leon Slater is going to break Amazing Red's record and become the youngest champion. The Slammiversary, and it'll be so worth it. The match that I knew who was going to win, the 8-4-1 match. The funny thing is Alicia keeps it short because she knows if she talks too long, fans are going to see what I saw from day fucking 1. Whereas Mercedes, it's totally different. I've already solved the Mercedes situation. Alicia Edwards, on the other hand, can't talk, can't wrestle, can't do a damn fucking thing. Oh, she is wild as fuck, Darius. She is the death sentence on people. I think he's going to absolutely tear Moose apart. And I can't wait to celebrate Moose getting beat. I will be on stream with the Celebrate song, and I will be fucking celebrating his loss. Because he should never have been a champion again. I don't care. I do not care. He is overpushed more than anybody on this planet, and I am sick of it. I am genuinely fucking sick of it. Yeah, I've got Killer Kelly. For me, it was between Killer Kelly and Indy Hartwell. They were the only two. Tasha Steelz, she'll get her turn again soon as well. I really like this match. It's another highlight match of the night. It is, but its overall flow. Can you stop with your nonsense? I think this, I think that, you think this, you think that. Here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing. And this is where I'm going to end it right now. The issue is the minute she says one word, I know you instantly feel it. There's a reason I get bored of Triple H. I don't even have to remind you of it. You, on the other hand, never let it go. I have. Yeah, Moose will take time off. He claims to be a top star. I've got more star power in my pinky than he does. Anyway. Indy Hartwell, of course, does unfortunately miss out here. Killer Kelly does take advantage, wins the match. It's a good way to see the teams flow as well. It's all the 841 is always a mixture of babyface and heels, because obviously when you get to the Fatal 4-Way, you need to have a mixture of both on the card. I like it. It's a good match itself. I think the women again are shining. The problem is this roster still lacks something. There's 4 or 5 talents bar the champion. I'd be like, you know what, I would build a main singles division around you. And then there's some that I'm like, you need to be replaced pronto. But they're not doing it quick enough, and I'm not particularly pleased with that. After the match, we see Masha Slamovich looking on. Gia Miller obviously then interviews her. They talk about their history together, which I like that they went straight to it. And then she promises to retain her title and make Killer Kelly her bitch. I'm eager to see if she does. I think we might be seeing a title switch. But I don't think overall jeopardy on Masha yet. Remember, this match is in 2 weeks' time. I'm eager to see what does actually happen. The good thing though is they're keeping Indy and Masha apart. They're not putting them together straight away. One of them is going to turn, and I think it'll be Masha. Something's going to change. But I'm eager to see what happens. The 841 matches are always good. They're always fun. But I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. But that's the good thing. That's what makes it excitable. I wouldn't mind either. The thing is, you praised our last stream. Yes, I know you did. But some of the critiques are just insane. That's my point. The reason why I go after Alicia Edwards is because Alicia Edwards has been in TNA for far too long, and she really doesn't offer the wrestling world anything. She's done nothing good in TNA. And that's not a joke. The one true champion of TNA is recapping his match against Mance Warner. That match against all odds was horrible. To be honest, it's the match they had last year. When Masha beat her. Because that was actually the best one they've worked together. Macklin talks about the Champions Tag Team Challenge, which is next week. I hope he destroys Trick Williams. I hope he destroys him. Wait, not even just a pinfall. I hope he destroys him. I hope he destroys his body. Following this quick discussion, I've just said their name and I know, ironically they appear. Mance Warner and Steph DeLander come out to the stage. They talk about the match. I swear to God, Mance Warner in TNA is a parasite. I'm sorry, but he is a parasite on TNA. It is not working. He needs to be told, sorry, but you've got to go. And it even makes it worse that that idiotic bum, Tommy Dreamer, also appears as well. I absolutely hated this segment. This segment is absolutely shite. The only good thing about this segment is the security guys getting, well, in the way, and production guys getting bullied, but the rest of the segment is awful. That's fair. That's fair, Darius. They're all good matches, to be fair. Sami Callihan, good. This is a good promo from him. He's not been delivering for a long time. Like, he hasn't delivered in a very long time. Good segment between him and Eric Young talking about the Slammiversary show and the world titles being held by an outsider. I like that he mentions AJ and Joe about building TNA, but then he says that himself and Callihan are the heart of the company. And then I like that they say that they'll see each other next week. It's going to be violent between those two, and then obviously Eric Young gets a cheap shot. This was good. Like, this was good. Next week on TNA, you've got obviously Callihan versus Eric Young, which we just discussed. Masha Slamovich and Lei Ying Lee versus the Elegance Clowns, the Championship Challenge, and an Order 4 Summit, which is really good. Something about Tasha Steelz that just, she's brilliant. The teams for the Championship Challenge are as follows: the Clown Champion Trick Williams, the Pussy Champion Moose, the Real Champion Macklin, and then the Nemeths versus the Rascals, Elijah, Leon Slater, and Joe Hendry. Tasha Steelz. Incredible. There's an account here that says, can Victoria Crawford capture the Knockouts World title? Fuck off. You make me sick, you piece of shit. No one has better expressions in wrestling right now than Mercedes Moné. Like, simple. I want to get into Mance Warner, but I can't do it. I don't find his character interesting. I don't think he's actually good enough for TNA. I think he's really poor. I think he's actually quite cheap. He's meant to be some sort of psychotic character, but it's not believable. Like, it's cheap. Main event time. Main event time, simply put, it's Third Class versus the Hardys. This is a decent tag match from the Hardys' perspective. First class victory. Not really. Casey Navarro, I'll say it once, I'll say it twice, I'll say it again. He needs to get away from AJ Francis. Casey Navarro will constantly be hindered like Jinder if he's stuck with AJ. It doesn't work. Ilya Dragunov doesn't have the best expressions. The main event was dreadful. It just doesn't actually offer anything. It's not actually an exciting main event. And it's another show where Trick Williams is still the world champion. Like, this is actually becoming embarrassing now. And speaking of Trick Williams, he does come out, cause of disqualification, win for the Hardys. Leon Slater runs out. He does his big, enjoyable dive. The system get involved. Pretty much everybody gets involved. Joe Hendry, Elijah, Leon Slater, the Hardys, they are all standing tall at the end of this show. And it's a good ending to a rather odd show. All over the place. Leon Slater's going to take the title. Trust me. Can't wait for him to take that title. I'll get my X Division title back. But if I'm looking at it, I give Ring of Honor a B+. I give TNA a B. But the point still stands. I'm still giving the little bit of a win to Ring of Honor. It's 2-1-0. But I don't think it'll stay that way for long. I think TNA will still claw some gaps. However, that was 2 shows. That was a double tap review. That was a tag team review of Thursday Night Wrestling. So, first of all, this weekend, 2 reviews and more watch-alongs. We've got that to come. We're in a good place at the minute on this channel. Long may it continue. That's not a flex. If you're actively celebrating that, then that's embarrassing. Right, what's Catherine tagging me in? Something about Rikishi. Okay. Swear to God, that man is absolutely delusional, but I'll leave it at that. So let me get this straight. You think I unfairly judge someone that I have watched since his debut? I've been watching TNA longer than you, and you want to tell me I unfairly judge him? Unfairly judge him. See all the people that moan, and I'm going to give you a big example right here. Do you want to talk about people that are thrown down your necks? Or thrown down your throats? Heavy push talent? He's one of them. He's one of them. Constant. Don't tell me what I think about him. He is over pushed. And there's nothing significantly good about him. Look at who he works with and who he's had to work with. And look at what he does in the ring. Nothing there that screams to me, watch this man. Nothing. That ain't unfair judgment. That's years of watching and formulating a point of view. Plain, simple, concise. And right now, he honestly is up there. He's in my top 4. The way he's going, if he continues the way he's going, he's going to escape right to the top. But he's got to go through 3 people that I have consistently said are the overall best in class for TNA. Leon Slater is in there. Mustafa Ali, Mike Santana, Nick Nemeth. Those 4 are the corners of this company. 100%. Steve Macklin is right in there at number 5. But Leon Slater is on a level that is going to be so hard to stop him. So I completely see where you're coming from, Maria, and I do not argue. I don't. The way he works in the ring, the way he moves, the way he articulates himself. That's what I like from someone. And I like that he understands his place. He understands who he is. He's not a parody. He's not a cheap concoction. He's certified. Okay. I've already said before, when it comes to the big slow, I've got issues with him because as a big man, he shouldn't have done the bullshit he was doing in WCW. That took away the interest I had from him as a big man or a giant. It defeats him. A giant should not be doing kip-ups and hurricane ranas and drop kicks. Especially for someone who's well over 7 feet tall that shouldn't be doing that. If it's someone close to that height and they're athletic, I'm alright with that. That's at least defying the odds. He shouldn't be doing that shit. Does he have some good matches in WWE? Yes. Do I care? No, I don't. He stopped that when he got to WWE because he tried to do it and they were like, fuck no, that's not happening. I called him lazy for years. And he was lazy. There was elements to him that you could think are actually enjoyable, but it doesn't stop the problem. And that's just what I think of him. I could never take him seriously from that. He has some good matches. He's got some memorable feuds. But in terms of the greatest giants, he's not even in my top 10. Yes. Not as much now because of his knees. But Strowman is an example of someone who does that and it actually is understandable. Because at least he can move. It's not hard to determine where I actually get my thought processes from. They're all mine. But it's so easy. What I see is what I think and feel. Nothing's going to change that. They have people there to do that. Not Otis. He's terrible. I'm going to make a big suggestion and I'm going to stand by this one. It's time to break up the War Raiders. Valhalla's husband needs to be released. Ivar should be on his own. That Ivar, he can go. His tag team partner, he's awful. And I'd love to know WWE's reason why they've kept Hikuleo off TV for a year. The difference is when Braun Strowman does it, it actually looks effective. It looks interesting. When the Big Slow does it, absolutely not. There's no power behind it. There's no speed. There's no utilization of being a big man. That's an issue. He should have been more stand, ground and pound destruction. Instead, he was a goof. He was a wannabe midget. And it just wasn't worth my time. Simple. The man got sent to OVW because he got lazy. Make that what you will about the Big Show. When they sent Kane down there, it was to help Batista and Brock Lesnar get over. Different. Bronson Ivar. Nice. Bronson Braun. Ivar plus Miro. I'm not sure. Yeah, and what happened to Mark Henry? Mark Henry came back a star. The Big Show came back 40 pounds heavier and nothing interesting about him. I feel bad for Omos. I don't think he's going to get anything. He signed a new contract just to be wasted in catering. Difference is I can take Mark Henry serious because Mark Henry acted like a big man. Conducted himself like a big man. The Big Show had no identity. There's a criticism of Big Show I actually have more than anything else. He has no identity. You want a perfect example? 2012. And 2013. Those 2 years especially. Ridiculous. If he was smart, he should have retired after the Mark Henry feud for the world title. He should have retired. Oh, without a doubt, Mark. But even though the Silverback 2006-2008 Mark Henry is better than every period of the Big Show's career. The best part of the Big Show's career in WWE, I will grant this, the best part of his career was late 2002. That's it. No, that let me get this straight. The fact that you used aura is even funnier. But even as Corporate Kane, he actually did more genuine stuff than the Big Show. What was Big Show doing? Eating Twinkies. Kane managed to do a personality gimmick that actually stood out in a shit period in WWE. He had a split personality gimmick. And he actually did more. Here's another thing. People say Big Show did more for Braun Strowman. I disagree. Kane did more for Braun Strowman. He looked like a goof as a corporate character, but that was a split personality gimmick and it was really intriguing shit. He was unmasked for too long. He should have went back to the mask in 2009. And he effectively should have, in my opinion, retired in maybe 2012, 2013. I would have retired Kane after 2013. I think that was the right time for him to go. The high of the heel return in the mask, the title feuds, the tag team run with Daniel Bryan, that was good stuff. But he didn't have to go any further than that. So here's the difference. At least I can see it. Big Show went far too long and he had nothing redeeming about him. You could say the last great year for the Big Show was 2006. But after that, it's few and far between, brother. Here's the funny thing. That's because Kane didn't mind losing matches. Kane could be credited for the birth of comedy. R-Truth, you're not even in the match. Ron, I'm not. Yeah. It's the simple things. You want to look at a judge a character, you look at how the top talents judge certain people. Look at how they judge Kane as a worker and a talent and a gimmick compared to the Big Show. I guarantee you 99% of them are gonna say Kane every time. That's not as radical as Chelsea Green's 75% statistic, because at least I've got some evidence to back it. But there you go. I've gave Big Show some credit. In your opinion, I disagree. I can give you one match example that's far superior than every Big Show and Braun Strowman match. I don't know about the strategy for liking someone because Baron Corbin and Brock Lesnar were worshipped backstage. Oh, they were. They were. I'll tell you what's wrong with certain parts of the business. People that stay in it too long and don't realise the business just went past them. The Big Show's one of them. Kane is another one. I'm going to say this controversially. Damn it, The Undertaker is another. Triple H. The only person who left when it really was the right time to go. Shawn Michaels. In terms of he just knew it was the right time on his own power. Shawn Michaels. Meh. It was semi-decent. Yep. I think if he had more sense, I think he should have retired after Hell in a Cell in 2012. If people were saying Taker should have retired in 99 because his ankles were fucked. Taker kept getting injuries in 98 and 99. He came back overweight and out of shape in 2000 as the badass gimmick. He didn't get into physical good shape until November 2001. Judgment Day 2000 was in May. Sorry, June. Think about how long that is. June 2000 until November 2001, Taker finally gets in shape. He's still having good matches, good feuds, but he was absolutely fucking out of shape. Kane should have retired in 2010 or 2012. Not a bad idea. I think his last world title run was a good ending. But I agree. Yep, I think that's fair. Some talents just don't know when to walk away. Sadly, there's one other wrestler who's going to end up making that exact same mistake. And right now, luckily, they're not wrestling. They're not wrestling at the moment. But they are making a similar mistake. Whoa! You have got to be kidding me. Please tell me you're fucking joking. He's one of them. He's second on my list. Yep. Brock's ending is an unforgivable way. But his ending is that. But this I can't get over. Kane's last year, they seemed like a badass, was 2003. Are you kidding me? Are you gonna forget what he did in 2004? Hell, as great as 2006, 2007. His feud with Mysterio in 2008. His last badass year was 2003. Where are you getting that from? The only unks that get nostalgia past are Jeff Hardy, Ray, RVD, maybe Sting. The way things are going, time will tell when he returns, but Chris Jericho. AJ Styles is in that bracket now. CM Punk, I don't know. Because, well, Fragile Phil has a fragile moment. Jericho, honestly, Jericho, the fact that he's away on tour right now is good. His body is not expelling so much physical energy in that way. Like, he's not wrestling, but I'm concerned about where he goes. AJ lost points because I feel like he was just phoned in on Monday against Gable. I don't think he was phoned in. But if that's your point of view, that's fine. So here's the thing. His 2010 feud with Edge was all about him losing his mind. Kane 2003 was a good year, but what you said is still completely disingenuous. The 2010 feud wasn't as great as the 05 feud. That feud was electric. But look what else he did in that period. He had a wild feud with Snitsky. He had an insane feud with Umaga. That feud with Edge in 07. Batista. Like, it seems to me like you're just overshadowing a lot. Look at 04 as well. 04 where there was a lot in there as well. Like, he actually got a good feud out of that clown Goldberg. He had a good feud with your guy Redacted. Or have you forgotten that? Top tier feud with Shawn Michaels. The Hell in a Cell match in 06 was perfect Kane. Short lived, but perfect run. The only downside maybe in 2006 was the fucking Kane versus Kane feud, which is just as weak as Kane versus all the giants that went to ECW in 08, but that shit happens. I suppose that's fair. I think he was not as bad as elsewhere, but I do see where you're coming from. Who, Kane? Yeah, Kane was underrated. I won't deny though, there's a lot of shit about that Kane did. I absolutely will say I did not like. I did not like his feud with the Great Khali. some of his SmackDown feuds outside of the Edge feud really weren't standing out. His feud with MVP was fun. That Inferno match at Armageddon was insane. I didn't like the whole May 19th thing though. That was just... that was torture. I've literally just gave you all of the good stuff. I've literally just gave you the good stuff and mentioned the stuff that didn't particularly stand out. So I've just debunked your point. Just saying. We need to get a list of wrestlers like we did with matches and do an underrated, overrated, or properly rated segment. We can certainly do that. We can certainly do that. ...2010, the best thing he did was winning the world title in the the trilogy of matches with Taker to finally end their rivalry. That was the best stuff he did in 2010. I stand firm on that. The rest of it isn't great. The Edge stuff is okay. I don't hear people talking about the Big Slow. Only you. The funny thing is people talk about the Kane stuff and they remember that fondly and they enjoy that more. But this is the whole point that stands out, and this is the part that really makes a difference. There are some things that Big Slow definitely did better than Kane. But Kane by far had a bigger career and a better legacy than Big Show. Edge brought out the best in that man. I started in 09, so I'm not as up on OG as Kane. I got to witness a lot of that, man. Including the shitty voice box stuff. Depends on the person. That's another thing, it depends on the person. But even so, 97 to 04 Kane is better than Big Show's entire career. And that match was awful. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible, just like I said earlier on about a flex. This isn't a flex either, and the reason being is neither of them did anything for either Drew, Brock, or Big Show. Simply put, really not good. Like, it was really not good. I think if I'm not going to say this to sound horrible or anything, but see, in terms of Big Show's entire WWE run, I think I only enjoyed to the fullest maybe 7 or 8 matches of his entire career in WWE. 8 matches, maybe 9 at best. Think how long that man was in the company for. And I'm saying 8 or 9. Make of that. And don't worry, it's not all just one particular year. They're all scattered years. But 8 or 9? But the rest of them I just couldn't enjoy. I just couldn't do it. He didn't stand out for me enough. And I didn't like the fact that when he was absolutely past it and he couldn't move anymore, he was given title matches for the main singles title. Seven. That's it. 7. And if you want them, I'll tell you them. Yeah, 7. Actually, no, hold on. 8. 8 matches, because there's one other one that I really like. And I absolutely hate the guy. Never liked him, never rated him, never had interest in him, but there's 8 matches he has that I actually like. Tim Hortons for a quick coffee. Nice. Pretty much most of the matches I like that he's in, he does lose. I'm not sure. Only one of those names are on my list. If you want my list, I'll give them to you. Yep. He is. He's in my top 10 for most overrated. But if you want the list of the matches that he has that I particularly liked, I'll give them to you right now. I don't mind. And I'll even give you the 6 or 7 matches that the Big Slow has that I like. From his WWE career specifically. In WCW only has like 2 or 3. Purely because he pissed me off. For Big Slow or Cena? No. You need to be specific. You said, can you name them? And then I said, who? And you haven't said who. You can try and guess them, but I'll just keep saying no. You might eventually get one or two, but you won't get them all. I'm certainly sure that. What on earth? I turned sound on to listen to someone speak, and he's actually just funny. But, nah. Some funny podcaster. He gets one word screaming. I was like, nah, he's going to be a loud one. So I'm like, nah. Sound off. Oh, Big Show. Okay. SummerSlam 99. Losing to The Rock on Raw. Build up to Mania. Big Show versus Raven versus Kane. Big Show versus Kurt Angle. Armageddon 2002. Big Show versus Brock Lesnar on SmackDown. The Boiler Room Brawls there as well. And last one. I did like that one, but I preferred the SmackDown match. The stretcher match, and lastly, I'll go with. You're joking. If he's seriously the mystery spot, that is embarrassing. So he's going to get the King of the Ring win then. Ugh. Thank God I'm not watching. The last match is versus Taker in the casket match at Survivor Series. Oh, that is shocking. No idea. I'm actually letting Alien know as we speak. Oh, they are definitely taking the piss. Definitely no. Cali couldn't wrestle a match to save his life. Oh yeah, they will. Oh yeah, they are. Shall I give you the Cena matches then, since I gave you the Big Show ones? Don't mind doing that if you pick a like. Actually, you know what? I'll do that. Actually, I'll make this part of the show for the end. Heh. Oh, that would honestly make me sick, Zodiac. You think the Cena one's very easy? Go on then. Go on then. It's 8 matches. Go. And 8's me being generous. I could have said 2. But there's a lot of matches there that I actually do like. Like, go on then. If you think the ones I like are easy, then let me hear them. I will honestly tell you if you're right or wrong. Yes, you are Zodiac, and I am to you guys. I will literally, if you get a match right, I will do this or this. I won't lie. I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. Let's see if you can get them. Guys, you can put in the chat as well. If you think you can guess which ones I like from China. Which one? Do it that way. You've only guessed one correctly. There's 3 left. Nope. Nope. Good guesses. Nope. We'll come to him after. I only liked one Cena versus Lesnar match. One. I'll be surprised if any of you get the last 3 matches. Which one? Not for me. Nope, hated that. Nope. Sadly, no. Definitely no. Nope. There is a Kurt versus Cena match I do like, but it's not that one. It's memorable, but it's not the one I like most. At 6. Vengeance 2003 is Cena versus Undertaker. Wasn't a fan of that. I did not like that one, to be honest. The crowd reaction, however, him getting booed, I loved that. But I wasn't a fan of the match. You got 2 more. Kurt versus Cena at No Mercy, that's 7. 1 more. Nope, not Seth Rollins. Great match, Zodiac, but nope. There's not a lot. Okay, right. Ric Flair. Well, pretty much every match of Harley Race. The trilogy matches with Steamboat in '89. The I Quit with Terry Funk. Clash at the Champions. 45-minute draw with Sting. Starrcade '83 and Starrcade '85 with Dusty Rhodes. The first episode of Nitro stands out, obviously, with Sting. Flair versus Taker, yep. Flair versus Savage at WrestleMania 8. Royal Rumble 1992. Flair versus Eddie, yeah. Flair versus... It was okay, but it wasn't great. It could have been better. Flair versus Vader. I'm going to say this because I like just the sheer humiliation of the ending, but Flair versus Hogan at the cage and uncensored. Flair versus Bret Hart. Yeah, Flair versus Inoki was incredible. Flair versus Rick Rude. Flair versus Barry Windham. Flair versus Bret in '92 and '98 was perfect. Flair versus Shawn Michaels 2003. And then the last great match for Flair that I like is Flair versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 24. Is there anything else in between? Yeah, that is one of them, to be fair. Flair versus Magnum TA. And I'd say that's it. Dusty Rhodes. Flair versus Sting's always up there. Dusty Rhodes, on the other hand. Well, I've already mentioned the two Starrcade matches. Rhodes versus... Rhodes and Koloff versus LOD. Rhodes versus Orton. Great American Bash. 2007. Rhodes versus DiBiase. Rhodes and Koloff versus the Andersons. Rhodes versus Arn Anderson. Including his son, 45 years in prison that he's gonna get. Worst gimmicks. The Gobbledygooker, the Taskmaster, the Shotmaster, the Executioner. Virgil. The Goon. Adam Rose, that was horrible. Yeah. Kidman, the heroin addict gimmick was horrible. Jericho's the learning tree. Stardust is terrible. I think she's asking me to do Steamboat matches. Not anything else. The higher power was awful. This might shock you guys, but I'm going to say it's Sheriff Austin. Oz. Anonymous GM. Yeah, that was horrible. Giant Gonzalez. Cody Deaner in any gimmick he's ever done. Tommy Dreamer's gimmick from 02 when he was just being sick and doing everything disgusting. That was just off-putting for me. Samoa Joe when he just became he just started going through a losing phase. That was a stupid gimmick. The Good Brothers, it's pretty much just, yeah. To be fair, I never liked Festus. The Bellas. Julia Hart is when she did her cheerleader gimmick, I hated that. Thank God she changed that. Aces and eights, all in general. Midian. Ugh, less said the better. Yeah, Nexus were just dreadful in the end. And the core. The Godfather, when he became the Good Father, he didn't fit in with the Right to Censor. That was one of the worst parts of that group. Hornswoggle. At any point. Viscera. When he went to ECW, because that was just a horrible gimmick. Gilberg. Yeah, the Spirit Squad were dreadful. Glacier had so much potential as well, but yeah, Glacier's up there. Deacon Batista. Randy Orton's injury gimmick. Molly Holly as a hero was fun. Oh, the Yeti thing was bad. The RoboCop, the wrestler that Kiss brought in was so bad as well. Yeah, he was bad. He was so bad. Um, Abyss when he joined fucking Hulk Hogan, that was awful. Do you think the Warner Brothers split could hurt AEW? I'm not sure. I don't think so. But again, I don't know what's actually going to happen when the split. Like, I'm not entirely sure, so I don't know. I think they'll be fine regardless because they'll still be on TV and they've still got the streaming platform HBO and they're doing their own stuff. I think they'll be okay. It was so bad. My favourite Abyss match. Barbed Wire Massacre versus Sabu. I'm El Grande Americano. I'm not a fan of that gimmick either. I'm not a fan. Favorite Abyss match though, it has to be generally the Sabu Barbed Wire Massacre. Then it's the cage match versus AJ, and then it's Falls Count Anywhere. It's Falls Count Anywhere versus Kurt Angle. Flair did have good matches, yes. None in TNA, however, but he had good matches. Yeah, the Bound for Glory match as well is brilliant. His Full Metal Mayhem match versus Jeff Hardy is underrated as well. That's a really good match. Sandman. Here's the thing, see for Sandman, you're not watching Sandman. Sandman's one of the rare few you're not watching him wrestle, you're watching him for the experience, but his best matches were with Sabu and Taz. Any match with Sabu and Taz, that's what I'll say. Yeah, he does. His entrance is so incredibly unique. It's wild shit. He had some good matches with RVD as well, but honestly, when you're watching Sandman, you're watching it for Metallica to go blaring in the crowd whilst he walks out and just hurts himself. But hey, folks, it's all about Yowie Wowie. Lance Storm mostly has matches with Edge and Chris Jericho, and there were certain matches that he had with Dean Malenko that I really liked. Just Incredible. Cyber Slam. It's the only one. Yeah, his personality was stone cold dead. Thanks for tuning in, Zodiac. I appreciate it. Do you think Jeff was better in WWE or TNA? Jeff Hardy or Jeff Jarrett? I think Jeff Hardy overall was better in WWE, but he was a better main eventer in TNA. Right, my honest take on that. That's straight up honest. I think he was a better main eventer in TNA, but he just seemed better in WWE from overall. Like they loved him, and he's great everywhere. To be honest, but I think when you look at what he done in WWE and then TNA, like specifically, it's really close. But main event wise, I think that's it. I actually agree. I don't think his AEW run was particularly great. And Abel's spot on. I also don't blame Jeff for his AEW run. Like in general, like he did try to do some good stuff there, but I don't know if it was just the crowd's not feeling it or he wasn't fully checked in. I don't know, but I don't think you can generally blame overall. Good for NXT and NXT UK and American one. He only had three matches that I like. When he beat Pete Dunne for the title, when he dropped it to Ilya Dragunov, and when Braun Breaker pinned him. That's it. Great wrestler, but I generally think those three are the only ones I can truly say I like. That triple threat was a main roster match, remember? Steven Regal, the ladder match that we watched last week, his match with Fit Finlay, the match with Bryan Danielson on main event, just because the rib was funny. His match with Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 17, his match with RVD at WrestleMania 18, his match with The Rock in 2000 Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving episode, his match with Stone Cold when Steph screwed him was actually a good match. His match for the European title versus versus Jeff Hardy is a great one as well. Your favorite Jeff Hardy match is the Extreme Rules match versus Taker, the ladder match versus Taker, the ladder match at No Mercy 99 versus Edge and Christian, TLC 2, TLC 1. The ladder match and the steel cage matches versus Johnny Nitro, the match versus AJ Styles when he debuts in TNA in Slammiversary 2004, the match versus Raven, Clockwork, House of Orange at Lockdown 2005, the Fatal 4-Way Bound for Glory in the Monsters Ball, the match versus Abyss Full Metal Mayhem, Kurt Angle No Surrender 2010 when he beat Austin Aries for the world title. Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy versus the Briscoes. Jeff Hardy versus Edge and Triple H Armageddon 2008. The Jeff Hardy versus Edge 2009 Extreme Rules ladder match. Jeff versus Umaga, Falls Count Anywhere. Jeff versus Shawn Michaels on Raw 2008. Tanahashi, every match with Nakamura, every match with Okada, every match with Naito, every match with Omega. His match with Speedball Mike Bailey at Multiverse. Brian Pillman, when he faced Ultimo Dragon on the first episode of Nitro. Sorry, that was Jushin Thunder Liger, sorry. Ultimo Dragon, Hog Wild versus Rey Mysterio. Goto, when he beat Zack Sabre Jr. for the IWGP World title. When he faced Naito a couple of years ago as well. Eddie Guerrero, Brock Lesnar, No Way Out. Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 20. Kurt Angle, SummerSlam 2004. Halloween Havoc 97 versus Rey Mysterio. Eddie Guerrero versus Edge on SmackDown, a very specific gimmick match. No. That's a lot of matches. I Quit versus Ric Flair. The exploding barbed wire match in Japan versus Cactus Jack. Terry Funk versus Bret Hart, 1997, when he was supposed to retire. The dumpster tag team title match, sorry. Trying, is there any more? Yes, all them. See you later, Abel. Davy Boy only has... Davy Boy, let's see. So Davy Boy, well, obviously Bret Hart, SummerSlam. The Bulldogs versus the Hart Foundation. Rock versus Bulldog. No Mercy. Bulldog and Owen versus Dude Love and Stone Cold. And then Stadium Stampede flag match. Ooh, that's a lot. Christian. Christian, well, Jeff Jarrett Against All Odds, 06. Christian versus Sting and Kurt Angle, Sacrifice 2007. Christian Cage versus Kurt Angle Against All Odds 2007 and 2008. Christian versus Edge, Unforgiven 2001. Christian versus Jericho versus Cena, Vengeance 2005. I've already mentioned all the tag matches with the Hardys, so I don't need to repeat those. Christian versus Copeland a couple of years ago. Christian versus Josh Alexander. And Christian versus Kenny Omega. Dean Malenko only won the match with Jericho when he unmasks himself. Mr. Kennedy, the Angle feud, and his matches with Taker. That's it. Everyone else I don't care about. To be fair, no one for Christian is King of the Mountain 2006. Even though he loses, he's still great. And his lockdown appearances were always good, to be fair. His street fight with Rhino as well. And that's probably it. Best Moose match. He's only ever had one. The Josh Alexander match that he lost. That's the only great match I've seen him have. Chris Candido. Basically every match he had in ECW was great. Michael Elgin, I'd rather not mention, but only won the ladder match. That's it. Raven, Rhino Unbreakable. His match of Abyss, Dog Collar. The triple threat at WrestleMania 2001, WrestleMania 17. When he beat DDP for the US title. And his match versus AJ Styles, world title. Raven versus Jeff Jarrett was great. And Raven versus Tommy Dreamer. Lex Luger, I only liked one Lex Luger match, and that was the match against Flair at Starrcade. Jack Swagger, none. None. I don't like any matches he's ever been in. Unbreakable 05 Triple Threat, Turning Point 09 Triple Threat, the one-on-one match with Styles that followed that Final Resolution. Basically every match Styles and Daniels. Daniels Ring of Honor run, Daniels versus Samoa Joe, 2005 when he came back from getting his head caved in. And Daniels versus Page, Hangman Page, Samoa Joe, the Kurt Angle trilogy, and then the Lockdown 08 match, which is my favourite. Joe versus Sting, Bound for Glory. Samoa Joe versus Swerve, Samoa Joe versus MJF. Samoa Joe versus Lesnar. Samoa Joe versus Jay Lethal. Samoa Joe and Styles versus the Briscoes. The Punk matches. That's it. No idea. Not for me. Just the match versus Flair. Arn, it's mostly for him, it's the when he was the Brainbusters, or up against Rick Martel and Santana, and the War Games matches were mostly what I liked about Arn Anderson. Andre the Giant, Harley Race, and I'm not going to be disingenuous, I like the spectacle around the whole build-up, so I will say Andre versus Hogan just because Andre stole the show. But that's it. Rusev, none. None for Rusev. Eddie Edwards, it's probably his matches with Bobby Lashley the most, that's it. Junkyard Dog. Survivor Series 1990. Randy Savage, WrestleMania 4. And that's it. Sid Vicious, Shawn Michaels, Survivor Series. Taker at WrestleMania 13. Bret Hart on Raw after the Final Four. Vader versus Cactus Jack, Halloween Havoc. Ric Flair's. His match against Kane. His match with The Undertaker at the Royal Rumble 97. And then his All Japan match when he won the Triple Crown. Misawa, basically the Kobayashi. Big Boss Man, none. I didn't like any Big Boss Man match. One of the worst wrestlers I ever saw. Al Snow. The match with Jeff Jarrett, Survivor Series, and that's it. Hogan. Starrcade 96 and Starrcade 97. And WrestleMania 18. Mr. Perfect. Well, the two matches with Bret. Santana when he won the Intercontinental title. Ric Flair and the loser leaves WWE. And Perfect versus DDP in 97. Oh, and the tag match at Survivor Series 1992. With Savage versus Flair and Scott Hall. Well, Razor Ramon. Alex Skipper. Nah. You mean Elix Skipper? It's just that cage. Dreamer. The only one that I liked was the I Quit match against Styles, and the match when he finally beat Raven. Tatanka, none. I didn't like Tatanka at all. Tatanka's one of the worst gimmicks as well, for me. Das Wunderkid. Alex Wright. To be honest, I just enjoyed his gimmick more than his work, but his work in the mid card scene was literally good with anybody. But his best matches were probably with, in my opinion, the likes of Booker T and Perry Saturn. Triple H, hardly any matches, but The Rock at SummerSlam. The Iron Man match. Chris Jericho, Last Man Standing. Shawn Michaels at the Royal Rumble, that's the only match between them I liked. And Batista at WrestleMania 21. I don't care for any other match. Haku. Again, another I just like the look in the presentation, but overall matches. Probably just the first blood match against Taker and Kane, teaming with Rikishi. But when he was teaming up in WCW, I particularly liked those matches that he had, but it was mostly against the likes of Regal, etc. EC3, just the angle match. I don't particularly like EC3. Paul London, singles only. There's only one. Billy Kidman, No Mercy, 2004. That's the only singles match from Paul London that I like. Brian Kendrick, Abyss, Championship Scramble, Jeff Hardy, and Kazarian. Sheamus, probably just that triple threat. That's it. Taz, the Kurt Angle match at Royal Rumble. Taz versus Sabu. Taz versus RVD. Taz versus Raven. RVD, well, beating Cena. Right, these are going too fast. These are going too fast for me. RVD, well, it's the ladder match. He's against Jeff Hardy, two of them. Unifying the titles that he did. The match against Eddie Guerrero. The first Elimination Chamber. And when he went up against Bam Bam Bigelow. Trish, it's just any match with Lita, to be honest. In her first match with Victoria, Lita, it's just and Trish as well, Mickey James. Lita is mostly just that. Warrior, it's only the matches with Savage and Rick Rude. Jazz, WrestleMania 19, that's it. Jeff Jarrett, there's too many. But his feud with Angle, his feud with Jeff Hardy, so those matches. Christian Cage, AJ Styles, Raven, Sting, Samoa Joe, Ravishing Ric Flair, the 2 Warrior matches, Barry Windham, Ron Simmons, James Storm, the Bobby Roode matches versus Kurt Angle when he wins the title, AMW versus LAX when he turns on Chris Harris, Beer Money versus Machine Guns, Ultimate X, and the 2 out of 3 falls. Beer Money versus Team 3D in the Philly Street Fight at Lockdown. That's it. Mick Foley, well, the Last Man Standing, the I Quit, the Rock Bottom matches all with The Rock. The Hardcore match versus Orton. Backlash 04, the Hardcore match. WrestleMania 22, Sting versus Foley, Lockdown in 2009. Foley 2 matches versus Triple H, Royal Rumble, and the Street Fight in the Hell in a Cell. Foley is Cactus Jack versus Vader, Halloween Havoc 93. The exploding barbed wire death match versus Funk. Foley versus Michaels as Mankind versus Taker, the 96 feud, the 97 title match. Naito, pretty much every match with Jericho, Okada, Tanahashi, Nakamura, Omega. His matches with Ospreay. Daphne, the match against Awesome Kong, $25,000 challenge when she won the Cruiserweight title as well, and the match she had with that talent she trained for the indie scene. Bayley, none, except the Iron Woman match. It's generally the only match that stands out for me. Angle, there's too many, but WrestleMania 17, Backlash, and WrestleMania 17 and Backlash, WrestleMania 16, No Mercy 2000, No Mercy 2004, Angle versus Taker 06 back to back, Angle versus Joe Trilogy, Angle versus Christian Cage, 2 matches, Angle versus AJ, their feud, like every match they had, the Desmond Wolfe matches, the Jeff Hardy matches, and Brock Lesnar, SummerSlam and WrestleMania, Thunder Liger, mostly it's the Flying Brian or the Ultimo Dragon matches, and when he went the Insane Liger later in his career, and the Jericho matches as well. Eddie matches as well were great, and then Rey Mysterio. And the match with Samoa Joe at Bound for Glory. I'll do 2 more and that's it, because these are going crazy for me, but I love it. But 2 more. Scott Hall. WrestleMania 10 and SummerSlam 95 ladder matches. Bash at the Beach 96. Uncensored 98 versus Sting. The 1-2-3 Kid match. And Jeff Jarrett Royal Rumble 95. Bam Bam, the Bret Hart match. King of the Ring Finals 93. Bam Bam, his ECW debut. And then Bam Bam when he wins the Hardcore title. Which is crazy. Owen Hart, it's the Bret Hart feud. And the Shawn Michaels match from In Your House. The Ken Shamrock match. And despite the injury, Owen Hart versus Steve Austin SummerSlam. And Owen Hart versus Steve Austin at Montreal. The Stadium Stampede. And yeah, that's it. That's a lot though. I'm gonna tap out now. Like, hey, I've done a whole lot there, which I appreciate, folks. So I'm gonna say thank you. I'm gonna get out of here because I'm gonna need to relax a little bit. But we'll be back tomorrow. Dominion preview. So please tune in for that. Try and enjoy SmackDown. If you want to watch me speak to Mike Chioda with Nick, I'll be on his channel very, very shortly. I won't be on there for long. But in the meantime, I will say this. Thank you, good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.